For January the 10th, 2025, we talk about Indiana Jones and the Great Circle, Dying Light 2, Along the Edge, and much more. Welcome to Level 527. My name is Cole Ross.
My name is Dennis Furia.
I'm Moxie.
And I'm Jala Prendez.
And you are listening to The Level. It's a podcast for people who love video games. Back after a long time. It's the holidays broke at a weird spot.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But we're here. I hopefully refreshed. And yeah, we're here. Nevertheless, we're here.
Who knew podcasts would still be a thing in 2025?
Yeah, who knew anything would still be a thing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, let's not get ahead of ourselves. We've still got a lot of 2025 to go.
Yeah. What a week it's been. It's only Monday. Yeah. Yeah. So Jala, I think you were away the longest, so I'm gonna throw to you. What you up to?
You think?
Up to recently, yeah.
you know, I mean, like, I did Duck Stream and then I fell off the face of the planet, so...
you were dealing with other stuff.
Oh, yeah, like, lots of health stuff for people that I care about, so it has been... The horrors persist, but so do I. But the good news is that, okay, so last time I was on, it was in November, and I said... Y'all, I've got a new computer, just FYI, so I can use that new computer for Duckstream. And then the graphics card, yeah, and then the graphics card was all messed up, and I had to send that back. And then they took forever because of Black Friday and holiday rush and everything. It took them a month to get me the replacement parts. So I only just now got my computer working. And everything, because everything that I try to do for myself is cursed. Mm-hmm. So, but again, it is now functional. I am on it right now. That is fantastic. And so hopefully I will be able to do stuff like streaming in the future, but we'll get there when we get there.
Yeah, it's enough just that it like came together and starts like,
and yeah. Well, and then too, like once I start streaming, I'm gonna have to like relearn how to stream, because the last time I streamed, it was basic as fuck compared to how it is now.
Yeah,
all the different stuff you can do. So I'm gonna be having to do some tutorials and stuff.
I'm just throwing out Hexcrank Resident Evil 6 co-op stream.
Yeah. Well, we've already done Resident Evil 6.
We did 6. What's next on the list for? Yeah, we did
that.
Yeah, we did. Didn't we do 5 and 6?
Yeah, we did. We did 5 and 6. It was a few years ago.
Yeah, and then the next one was supposed to be Resident Evil Revelations 2, which I actually already had messaged Kole about, and was like, yeah, maybe that can be possibly a thing in the future, provided that like I get my legs under me with all the various things going on.
Yes,
but
the good news is OBS has gotten easier to use.
That's good.
So, at least in my experience,
cool.
coming back over to it from XSplit, yeah, OBS is not as janky in my experience with it, so shouldn't be too rough.
Woo.
Yeah. Well, I'm happy that your computer came together.
Yes.
Dennis, how about you? How was your holiday?
Oh, it was great. Lots of hanging out locally. Lucky to have all family in town. But the biggest thing is that I got the Pathfinder 2nd Edition beginner box as one of my gifts.
Ooh.
And so now I am starting to run Pathfinder, which is essentially like a D&D like for my kids, and neighborhood kids are starting to gradually be added to the group. So,
okay.
They're, my kids are getting to a really fun age where they can kind of free roam a little bit more, and they're over at their friend's house. Their friends kind of come over unannounced and all that. So we've got, Luke is playing a necromancer named the Whisper.
Okay.
Milo is playing a cleric named Kyra. And then the neighborhood kid is playing a samurai whose name has yet to be revealed.
Oh, nameless samurai.
Yeah.
So what races are they going with?
We got, I think it might be 3 humans, actually. The cleric is human, she's pre-made. And then I think both Luke and the neighborhood kid went human as well. So, so far so human, I guess.
For now.
Although I think 2E, I know the 5E, changed race to ancestry and put a lot less emphasis on it. I don't know, I can't reference how much 2E did that versus Pathfinder 1E.
Oh yeah, freaking New York Times just published a hit piece on that.
Oh no!
Yeah, no, has wokeness gone too far? Yeah, they posted that, and not. Oh gosh, there was another huge. I forget what it was, but it was a ridiculous thing for them to focus on because
you forget what it was. The intended result.
Yes, precisely.
Yeah, it's I honestly, it is very refreshing to be playing with kids where they're just like, they're doing the thing. They're not worried about that or doing a bunch of meta stuff, etc. They're just there to play a game and slay some giant rats.
Yeah, to play
which
pretend.
is refreshing.
Yeah.
It did get a little scary though. So I have to share the story of Milo is 8, playing Kyra the cleric. They had to go into this room that had snakes in it. And the door had like a window that they could look through, but they couldn't fit through. But the snakes could kind of bite through that just fine. And so they kind of derped around for too long and we're debating how to do it. And we're just looking through the window. So I was like, all right, the snake is going to attack you through the window if you keep on standing there.
Oh no.
And Milo like jams his shield up against the door.
Okay.
Like covering the hole that you can look through. And he's like, okay, I got it pinned. But then they were down health. And he's like, we got to heal. But I'm the healer. And I'm holding the shield against the door. So Whisper, you get up here. And they like switch places. So Whisper is holding the shield up against the door while Kyra's healing. Milo gets off like 2 heals or something. And Luke goes, okay, thanks. I opened the door. And Milo's, he's like, no, we can't. I'm like, are you running down the hall? What are you doing? And so they stood and fought and defeated the snakes. It was a great time. But it is fun to have someone buying in that completely. These small adventures like feel very big and important to them, which is fun.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So we'll see where it goes, but I'm having a ton of fun with it. And that was just one of many gaming related presents. I'm sure we can do a bit more of a roundabout once other people have checked in, but good break.
Nice. Moxie, how about you?
Yeah, I'm trying to think, obviously, had Christmas, we did Orphan Christmas down here in Alabama, and trying to think, didn't do anything for New Year's really, although my local community, not in any sort of organized way, but just in general, like any excuse to fire off fireworks, they're all in on.
Yeah.
So that was kind of fun. Just lots and lots of fireworks. But yeah, no, I mean, just kind of had a nice Christmas and New Year's, just kind of chillaxing.
Cool.
I made some pineapple mimosas, which I feel like should have a cooler name than pineapple mimosa, but
I'm trying. Okay, sorry. I got mimosa and mojito mixed up, and I was like,
"Don't know."
Pineapple and mint would taste awful. What are you talking about? And no, I just misheard. I heard the M, and I just yada the rest.
Yeah, I've never been a big mint person, so I don't know that I've ever actually had a mojito.
Yeah, I think it's just fun to say.
It is. That is true.
Yeah, happy you had a good time. Bad news for me is I got sick.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah, no. It was a stomach bug, which I guess is going around. I don't know if it was norovirus. It was really bad. I was at urgent care on the morning of Christmas Eve.
No. Woo!
Yeah, because I was like, okay, I feel god awful. Just like, it's not quite emergency level. Like I was doing my best to stay hydrated and all of that, but it's like I just know if I leave this, it is just gonna get worse, and then I'll be left with no option but the emergency room on Christmas if it gets worse. So I was like, I'm just gonna go. I'm gonna have them rule out like scary stuff, and then I'm going to let it ride. So yeah, it was that. And then, gosh, this past weekend when I was getting ready to get everything back together, threw my fucking back out. I pulled a bend.
Oh,
Yeah.
really?
That's why I didn't stream this past weekend.
Just
Yeah,
like a bad lift or something?
just a sleeping injury.
Oh, yeah. No, that is, yeah.
Yeah, it was new. It was a lower back pain, which is I haven't had one of those since I lost a bunch of weight. So I don't know. It sucked. Not to make my whole thing complaining, but it did suck.
I thought you were about to introduce a new thing.
No. Yeah, I'm sorry to do my whole thing complaining. I did have it, in the little bits in between, had a nice Christmas and New Year's stuff, been around family and things. But yeah, most of it was like, I obviously needed a break. Was real run ragged at the end of last year. Kind of ran out of runway as far as, burnout kind of stuff. And I was like, all right, cool. I'm going to have this time. And being sick, it made it so I had to not do anything, but like it pinned me to bed and I couldn't go anywhere or like kind of fuck around in a way that would have been restorative. It was just a lot of lying in bed and playing Tetris.
Right.
Yeah,
like
Dave took
Tetris
is good.
Yeah, Dave took some time off because, he works in retail and, holidays and everything. So between that and, again, the aforementioned medical stuff with everybody, Dave had some time off and he promptly got sick as soon as he had his time off. So he is also sick at this time. So, I'm trying to nurse everyone in the house back.
Oh, God. That sucks.
That sucks.
Yeah.
But
it's that time of year, Yeah.
So. Oh, well.
Well, hopefully you'll get some rest coming up on 2025 with some of the new changes and stuff like that you've been doing.
That's the hope.
Yeah,
and definitely,
hopefully.
It'll definitely be the case after we're done with Bonfireside Chat. And when we move on to what season 2 of Real Lich Hours is going to be, which is real fun, and I can't wait to talk about it. God, any excuse to like read new source books. Just like, just loading up my loading up my iPad with PDFs. Like, I'm going to read this. I'm going to learn this new thing.
Oh man, I got a podcast episode for you on my show. I'll tell you later at the end of the episode when we talk about what I got going on.
Awesome.
So,
so that's the check-in. Did I forget to hit anybody? No, I didn't. I think I hit folks.
You hit us? Oh my God.
What? Oh no! Just like, yeah, no, I didn't.
I wasn't even ready.
Oh, that's how Houdini died.
Oh no!
Yeah. What?
No,
It's an
just so knowing
assassination
Houdini
ploy.
died.
You say as though Houdini just died. Like, oh, did he die in 2025 or 2024?
Oh man, the year just started. We're losing some of the all-time greats.
Rule of threes, man.
Who will be next? Muhammad Ali?
Yeah, somebody go check on Lenny Bruce. I think we should talk about video games. And to do that, we got to do the regular kind of show. What with the grind, the multiplayer, and the end boss. And why don't we get started with the grind? The grind, where we talk about the games we have been playing over the last period of time or so. I have one, and it is new. So
Nice.
I'm going to lead with it. I'm going to make that my prerogative here because it's new.
Go for it.
Indiana Jones and the Great Circle.
Hell yeah. I haven't played it, but I downloaded it.
Nice. Has anybody else fired this up, played it, seen anything about it?
I have not.
Okay. It's really good. I didn't expect it to be, if I'm being honest with you. I thought that it was disappointing that Machine Games, the developer of this, wasn't making another Wolfenstein game.
Oh yeah, I can see that.
I just that like I like both of those, the two single player ones, and I want to see how the story ends. It kind of leaves on a cliffhanger a little bit,
and it would be timely.
Yeah. I mean, in this one, I'm just through the first like big hub area, the Vatican. I have bonked a lot of Italian fascists.
Okay, well, yeah, that's definitely good.
And here's the thing: like the way that I describe this is that what Wolfenstein did for stabbing people, this game does for bonking people. You
keep on saying bonking. Please explain, because that could be taken any number of ways.
No,
bonking, not boinking.
Yeah, exactly. See, Moxie gets it. Boinking. It's the boinking bonking. The boinking bonking merger. Bonking. You pick somebody up and you bonk them over the head with it. I don't know how to make it any clearer. No, it's
so you just picking up any random object and
so many objects.
Okay,
and they all make different sounds, and they all take somebody out with a with a sneak attack. So like I've hit people over the head with guitars, with violins, with violas, with so many different instruments, so many different bottles. Like a wine bottle makes a different sound than a champagne bottle.
Yeah, I was gonna say like the sound effects library for that's got to be astronomically huge.
It's got to be ridiculous. Yeah. So that is pleasant just on a tactile feel. The majority of what I've played so far has been stealth stuff. And the other way that I can think about this is like, it's kind of similar to Dishonored 2.
I was waiting for you to say something about Dishonored because you're like stealth, and I'm just immediately like Indiana Jones in Dishonored.
Yes, you're gonna go ruin this for me, huh?
No. I mean, so like Indiana Jones, he's got a whip and he has a pistol. I've only shot the pistol a couple of times. But like you do have a very, very good stealth system. And so many objects with which to bonk people, as I have alluded to. There's kind of a disguise system. They kind of brought over from Hitman, disguises and like the different factions. So like in the Vatican, you can either be like disguise yourself as a black shirt, or you can disguise yourself as a priest. And like there are, just like in Hitman, lieutenants who will kind of like see through it. Like, hey, I don't recognize you. So you have to kind of get around them. But when I say it's like Dishonored, it's not so much that it is, just like, oh, you're skulking around, etc. It's more that, like, at least in the Vatican stuff, which is what I've done so far, like you are just in the city. It is pretty much open, and you just get like objectives to go to little mini dungeons within the hub to accomplish what you need to accomplish, talk to who you need to talk to, and you can also just kind of explore and find stuff out of sequence too. And
now, when you say dungeons, are these like, is this have like the Resident Evil thing where like every university has a crypt under it, or are you using dungeon more loosely?
I'm using dungeon more colloquially, although sometimes it's literal. Like you do spend some time in the catacombs beneath the Vatican. Nice. In this, like it's real badass. But like more dungeons, just more like enclosed areas. So like here is like like an upscale villa. Here is like a public square that has been like taken over and occupied by the black shirts. Here are these literal kind of catacombs, beneath things. And you're getting around these, by stealth, by climbing, by kind of manipulating the environment, doing Indiana Jones shit with it to make pathways for yourself. And then you have the whip, which is kind of a grapple, kind of a like I use this to climb. things. Like I'll, just climb up a wall, kind of repelling with this. You can do a bunch of stuff that honestly doesn't make any sense for the whip to do. It does not have a defined length. It is as long as it needs to be, which is weird, but also empowering because I don't need to have Indiana Jones operating on just a, fixed reality. It kind of needs
Indiana
to be
Jones and the Pythagorean
you need some
theorem.
extra length when you're bonking.
Yes. What was it you said, Dennis?
I said Indiana Jones and the Pythagorean theorem.
Yes. And then the hand-to-hand combat, really good. You are doing a bunch of stuff with dodging, with blocking and counters. Like you get really good like parry counter stuff in this. Like the combat feels weighty and consequential because again, you're just Indiana Jones. You have your fits and your wits. You have your fists and your wits mostly. That's like the feature stuff to hit with that. The story's got its hooks in me. Like it has a really strong hook, like in the opening area in Indiana Jones's college up in Connecticut. Somebody comes and steals something from a dig, and you're going after it. Like it's got to do with like giants and Nephilim angel kind of stuff. You're looking for this thing called the Great Circle, and you don't quite know what it is. And you've got like a huge conspiracy. It is Indiana Jones-esque stuff, but it nails the vibe, and it is kind of shocking how well what's his name does an Indiana Jones impression.
Do you spend your time flirting with underage students? Because that's if it's not that, are you really Indiana Jones?
No, it's Troy Baker who does the impression for it. And when you're in the university, there are no students around, so
that's probably for the best. That's something that did not age well.
No, it didn't. It's just neat. It is so far just like a big budget roller coaster theme park ride, but with really interesting stealth and navigation and nailing a vibe that I didn't think that they could pull off, but they did.
Does it have much archaeology stuff? By which I mean not like, are you pulling out your brush and whatever, but like, does it have you like, I don't know, this is the like whatever chapel, and oh yeah, that thing over there is the relic of Saint whatchamid, you know what I mean, that sort of stuff.
Yeah, like you're in the Vatican, so there's all kinds of opportunity to do that. Like Indy tries to get cover for himself by hiding in a confessional in the Sistine Chapel. And a black shirt comes in and says something so outrageous that Indy is just like, "Whoa, no! What have you done?" And then it starts a big chase. Yeah, you get a bunch of that stuff, and there's like puzzle solving stuff in this as well. Like you gotta really look around and follow the clues that are in diagrams and in the inscriptions and stuff. So it is not just sneaking and bonking. There is also some cerebral stuff in it. Yeah. Any other questions about Indiana Jones and the Great Circle?
I've heard the word bonk way too many times.
Never.
Are there any gestures towards new game pluses or kind of replays of the content? Or do you think once you're through once, you've kind of seen it?
There's not really like choices that I'm making. You can decide to move on or not before doing all of the objectives in a place, but like it seems like a pretty major character I met in an optional quest, and I do not know if they would show up later if you didn't. I have no idea about like new game plus kind of stuff like is a thing with Dishonored. I'm just kind of enjoying it for the ride. I mean, I'll probably play it and then play it again when we do it for WoF if it holds up.
Fair enough. Yeah. Cool.
I will relent in saying the word bonk over and over again, Jala. I won't say bonk anymore.
Yeah.
Okay.
Here's a stick. Every time I say bonk, you can bonk me.
It's just going to turn into a cycle. It'll go over and over again. That's all that I have new. I didn't even get to play as much of that as I would like to, just because of sickness and, back stuff. So, yeah, that's where I'm at.
Hooray.
Jala,
Yay.
I will throw it to you.
Okay. So, because I've been away a while and because I had a lot of time where I was in, hospital waiting rooms and things like that, I played a lot of video games. And so I'm going to talk about 4 of them today so that I don't forget them by the time I pop up next time. So, I will have like a backlog for a little while, which will be kind of good because that means I'll have new stuff and a variety.
Yeah.
So, the first thing I want to talk about is actually finishing up the Thaumaturge. So, as y'all know, I went back and forth on how I felt about this game, but by the time I was in the final quarter, I have to say I wrapped back around to really loving it again.
So the misgivings you had was that stuff just didn't feel finished, right?
So what it was is at that time, like the last time, I believe the main gripe I had was about the there are quests that you have that are side quests. They're optional. Some of the side quests are like cool things where you have a whole bunch of animated cutscenes and there's a lot of more story elements and stuff to it. And then the other side quests are just like, go to an art gallery and you can do that and you get experience for going and doing that. But then you get like this little short couple of sentences of text and then maybe an illustration. And then that's it. And then like you don't actually get to do the thing, like go walk around the art gallery or, do anything like that. And there's
so you're just there to like enjoy the art. Like, is it literally just go to an art gallery because?
Yeah, like you just have to wait till the certain time of day and go to the certain part of the city to go to this art gallery when it's open. And then the screen goes black and there's a couple of lines of text and it says, you went to the art gallery and had a good time or something. And then like you might get a drawing that's like a black and white sketch looking drawing of, the art gallery scene. But you don't actually get to explore and actually go in and talk to people and look at art. You just get that, and then that's it. And then, like that felt like a monumental waste of time to me because, there's more things that I have to say about it. There are a couple of other complaints I have, but like there are also lots and lots of things that I really, really enjoy about this game that I enjoyed so much that it just kind of made it for me. So, I did not know this when I started, but there are 12 possible endings for this game, which is quite a lot.
Whoa. Are they appreciably different from each other? Or are those like somebody lives and somebody...
Yes, they are vastly different. So this isn't like, and then it's a little bit... No. These are vastly, vastly different from each other. And this kind of swings every which way. And I read about all of them online. Yeah, they primarily hinge on Victor, your main character's relationship with key characters and certain decisions regarding plot important sections of the game. So depending upon what decisions you make along the way and then how you treat each of these individual people, different stuff will happen throughout, like at the end of this game and throughout. But, anyway, the stuff that I really, really love, the things that I'm just like, yeah, I adore this game for this reason. The writing remains the high point. I absolutely love how much the characters are like real people. And, having 12 different endings that are vastly different but all work. Because like when I was reading them, I was like, yes, I can see all of these happening. Like, it made sense depending upon how you have your main character behave throughout the game. So, like the item and clue and conclusion descriptions that you get when you're exploring the world are all worth reading if you have the time and patience to absorb them all. After a while, it gets to be like, I'm skipping through all the different clues. I don't really want to read all of this text, at least for me. But if you enjoy that kind of stuff, it's there and it's fantastic. These give the characters they are attached to many more facets to their personalities and different motives and fears and joys. Like you learn a lot about these characters who otherwise you just have like just bare interactions with. So it gives a lot of dimension to a bunch of different characters that normally in video games, you get that much fleshing out, you know? So, and it's a neat way of doing it where like it's not on Front Street, like you really sit with and get to know every single character, but like by being a thaumaturge and using your power, you are able to learn these things about these people and then, you know, use that to your advantage depending upon what your goal is at the time.
Yeah.
So, and also the world building is top notch. You get a fantastic feel for 1905 Warsaw, which is not something that I know a whole hell of a lot about or didn't know a whole hell of a lot about. Still don't think I do, but at least I get a good feel for like the vibe and, you know, just like where Poland was at that time. It wasn't even Poland at that time.
It was part of Prussia still. Or no, if it was 1905, it wouldn't have been.
So,
shit, I don't know.
right? And that's the point, right? So like, you know, like you learn a lot more about the politics of that era and what was going on and the Russian occupation and how everybody felt like, no, we are Polish. Your country doesn't exist anymore. What are you talking about? You know, like all of this stuff you get to deal with. And also the music is phenomenal.
Would never be, never in the future come back to bite humanity.
So the music is phenomenal. I have been enjoying the soundtrack while I work. It's very cool. And, you know, it has a distinct flavor to it because it is, of course, using a bunch of different folk sounds and rhythms and whatnot from Poland. So that's fantastic. And the graphics are not AAA level because they didn't have a AAA budget, but they're still really good given, you know, like the kind of game that this is. So
I think it's more about art direction at that level.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Exactly. It's more about the art direction. So the stuff that I didn't like as well. So the battles, other than the ones where you fight Salutors, which are basically like your creepy critter Pokemon guys, like when you're fighting those and you capture those are cool battles, but every other fight that you fight are just against regular townspeople that you get into scraps with or police officers or something.
Yeah, that doesn't,
Yeah, and then like all of the battles are that. And it's like, you know, the Salutor battles are really your boss battle equivalents. And the rest is, like I said, is deeply forgettable. So there is one Salutor battle versus Marana. That's the one that I was stuck on the last time that I was on the show, I think, that requires you to use a specific skill against it to win. But other than that, you get introduced to people having special skills that can be canceled by using one or another Salutor, but that's all there is for additional factors to consider while fighting. So like after a while, it just gets repetitive and you're like, and here's another combat. You know, they don't throw it at you tons, but there are sections of the game where it's like, you know, it's supposed to be like a bunch of different battles happening and like, yes, you are going through them, but like it becomes a time tax, it feels like. So the battle system is fine. It's just that they threw in too many of those battles overall. Like this could be 100% a narrative game without any battles or just with the Salutor battles and maybe an occasional scrape with some folks in town and been just fine. Like you don't need to keep having to fight people, you know, like Victor isn't trying to murder half the population of Warsaw. He is trying to do his thaumaturge shit, you know, like,
well, you would also think the ability to summon demons would like trivialize most fights against, you know, random peasants.
Right. Well, I mean, like they add in stuff like the bleed condition if somebody is attacking you with knives and things like that. So like there are some other things that'll, you know, make it more difficult because none of your Salutors have like a straight up heal. Like there are some that can do an attack that will give you some life back, but it's not like a direct healing. Like there isn't like a cleric type of critter that you've got, and you don't have the
cleric
demons. Right. So, so anyway, the overall takeaway from that is I could have done with less battles. You can also absolutely put this game on easy mode and coast because the battles are not going to be challenging in a way that I feel most people will enjoy anyway. Even if you ramp up the difficulty, I don't think it's going to be an enjoyable, you know, super tactical experience or anything like that, you know. I might be wrong. I didn't put it on like the hard difficulty to see what happens, but you know, it seems like it's a little too repetitive
Yeah.
to have that much of a frequency. So I already mentioned the side quests that I don't like. Those are pretty, like, once you figure out which ones they are, like, go play a hoop game or whatever. Like, you can see which ones those are in your side quest menu because, like, the names of them are pretty blah. And then, take a dance class. Okay, well, then you can skip that one. I feel like 100% you really just don't need that XP. It is not worth your time to go run around after that because you're not going to be fighting some massive, battles that are super hard. I am told that at the very end of the game, there is potentially a boss battle at the end of the game. I did not have a boss battle at the end of my game, but depending upon your choices, you can have a boss battle at the end of the game. And reportedly, friend Dog Nozzle, friend of the show, Dog Nozzle, community member, said that he had a big fight and he remembers that being hard. So, I mean, your mileage may vary depending upon what your choices are during the game. For me, I didn't need any XP.
No.
So I'm curious, not having that boss battle, is that because you got the good ending or the bad ending or neither?
There's not like a given one that's like, okay, this is the perfect ending, this is the best one. I mean, like, they're all on a sliding scale of different stuff, and it really just depends. Again, it just kind of depends upon how you treat people and, go from there. Like, they're so wildly different. You can have a good ending that is vastly different from the ending that I had. I would say that my ending was mostly a good ending. There were a couple of things that I wish I would have done a little differently, but So, but anyway, the last thing that I want to say that I had to complain about is that you spend a lot of your time running around Warsaw snapping your fingers, which is how you use your Thaumaturge spider sense thing. So, and that helps you find important information in the environment. And I really wish it was more of like the Batman Arkham games where you can toggle detective vision or whatever on and off. So, that's it. Like, you run around, and every once in a while you have to hit a button to get your pointer to come up, basically. At the least, when it's quest important, your map will take you to the area where the information can be found. Like, it'll do that for you. And again, the writing for all the clues you find and the conclusions that you come across, those are very good as well. So, I mean, there is that. But there is a lot of, like, running around looking for a paper or a note that somebody dropped or a whatever in some district,
Pixel hunting, yeah.
Yeah, it's not really so much pixel hunting because when you get close, so first off, if you snap, it sends out like this little Thaumaturge energy wave thing, and like it will point you in the direction you need to go. And then when you get close to it, there's like little red sparkles on the screen, and then they coalesce and intensify in brightness, and then just shrink down to basically point you to the thing that you're looking for. So it's not pixel hunting. You are able to get it pretty easily, and once you're in the vicinity of it, but it is still just extra running around, so.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, in some cases that makes sense because if you are trying to do some detective work or whatever, I mean, you have to search,
Yeah.
but it feels like there's a little bit too much of that. And again, like, I wish for convenience sake, I didn't have to keep, snapping my fingers every once in a while or tapping that button. I wish I could just turn the mode on or turn it off.
Yeah.
But all in all, though, the high points definitely carried me through the things that I liked less. The things I didn't enjoy as much were never deal breakers for me. They were just mildly annoying. They weren't enough to make me bored of the game. They weren't enough to make me mad or frustrated. It was just like, I wish they woulda,
Yeah.
So I actually would end up rating this one at an 8.5 or even maybe a 9, which is really high. But I can't tell you how much I loved the things that I keep repeating. Like, they're great. They're so great.
Yeah.
I love them a lot. So it's definitely something where I'm like, man, I wish that they would make another game, like improve some things, like learn from the experience of making this one. And I wish they would make another game in this vein not necessarily following Victor again, but like, you know, there are several other characters and there are other stories to tell. And they set it up for that as well. They make it where it's like, yeah, they could go in other directions and still be writing in this same, you know, universe with these verbs and these nouns, you know?
Yeah. I mean,
So,
sounds like they've put in a ton of work making this a setting.
yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And I enjoyed my time with it. And because there are so many endings, it's like, man, yeah, I could go back through this and play it a totally different way and then see how that pans out for me, you know?
So I'm curious, this is apropos of nothing, but do they do any, like, you know, I don't know, famous character cameos? Do you meet any historical figures or anything like that? Oh, well, that's appropriate.
That is one of your very primary characters in this game.
Nice.
And they also, it's very cute. They have a traveler who was trying to get to Albuquerque.
Okay.
And he took a wrong turn when he was trying to go to Albuquerque, and he ended up here. And then, you know, Victor interacts with him, and he shows up a couple of times, and he even has a part in the epilogue. It's very fun.
Does the game take place during rabbit season or duck season?
No. I don't think they ever mentioned that. So, but anyway, so I actually want to say that of the games that were new to me that I played in 2024, you know, I did a lot of replaying for podcast reasons. But of the games that I played that were new to me from 2024, I think Thaumaturge was my favorite. So
Nice.
So yeah. Any questions about Thaumaturge before I move on?
No, I'm glad that it ultimately came around. Like, it sounds like you just figured out what the wavelength was that was on it.
And I also have to comment that, like, okay, I never finished Vampire. I got to the point where there was that difficulty spike, and then I stopped, and then, like, my computer stopped letting me play because my old computer died. And I did not boot it up once I got a Steam Deck or anything. So, like, I never picked that game back up again to finish it. However, of the part of that I played versus Thaumaturge, because I know there was a lot of comparison between Vampire and Thaumaturge when I first started talking about it. Thaumaturge is a lot better, like, hands down. I enjoy it a lot more.
I mean, it's probably aided by not trying to be an action game too.
Yeah. So the next one I have to talk about is Strange Brigade.
Dennis, you've talked about this before, right?
Yeah.
We need to get some co-op going. This is one of the all-time greats.
Lord, no. Oh, Lord, no. Lord, no.
Don't do this to me, Jala.
Jumped a little too quick.
No. Okay, so this is a cheesy co-op third-person shooter from Rebellion, published in 2018. It's very much like a combining Indiana Jones with Left 4 Dead in my mind. Rebellion also cited their inspiration as also coming from Zombie Army Trilogy, which they also did. But this one feels way more repetitive than Zombie Army Trilogy does to me. I enjoy Zombie Army Trilogy. This one, not so much. It's pretty redundant. And maybe that might be because I was playing with just Dave. Maybe this is a game that would benefit from having far more people on the screen at the same time. But it was real repetitive, and I hate the announcer so much. So much.
Really?
I knew you would love the announcer, Moxie. I am sorry. I hate him deeply.
I mean, this is 1930s, so is it like, the team is done? Oh,
No. It's the Strange Brigade. Like,
yeah.
Will our heroes survive? Like, oh my God, shut up. Anyway.
Thrilling adventure.
But the announcer's irrational hatred for cats.
Has
that come through?
What does this have to do with anything?
That can't be. Yeah.
Wait,
that can't be what it builds on.
Did you not shoot the cat statues?
Yes, I did.
Yeah. So just his commentary on you shooting the cat statues and just how much he hates cats is amazing.
But like little goofs aren't enough to.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I see this as somebody who hasn't played it. I'm the one person here who hasn't.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, so you play as one of several adventurers in the 1930s, and you're fighting mummies and giant scorpions and other kinds of critters. while looting tombs and whatever. There is an evil pharaoh called Setiki, and her spirit was released by an archaeologist named Harbin, who opened his her tomb. And the Department of Antiquities sent an SOS to the Strange Brigade, who, upon investigating, find out that Setiki is using magical devices called soul cages to capture people's souls. Destroying these weakens Setiki, so the Brigade decides, gotta wreck them all.
Okay.
So there's branching levels. Each of the characters have special skills and different loadouts. You can upgrade and swap weapons out. You can find secret chests with prototype weapons in them and coins, which you can use to upgrade your equipment. And this is really meant to be like a lighthearted romp. But for me personally, it's just not as interesting as Left 4 Dead or Zombie Army Trilogy. So I don't know that I'm going to be like, oh boy, I just got to go get me some more Strange Brigade. Like, no, I just fucking no. No, I don't think so.
Which character are you playing
I thought you were
as?
fun.
No, I'm not, Dennis. So what character did I play? I don't remember. Maybe there's an Indian lady and I played that one.
Oh, I'm surprised you're not playing as the character you've played before.
Mm-hmm.
What?
You did. The sniper is literally just the guy from the
Sniper Elite games.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I didn't pick the sniper. I was like, okay, this is like a big mob of people. Like a sniper seems like a thing that you would need if you had a larger group of people, not two. So
No.
I just picked a character that looked fine, and then I was like, okay, that's fine. I feel Indian lady today, so that's what we will play.
Do they have different abilities, or is it
They
just
do have
Left 4
like
Dead?
different
Okay.
skills, different whatever special dispositions or whatever. Like some of them are more prone to being able to use the fancy magic stuff or whatever, and then they have different loadouts of weapons, which of course you can change anyway as you get more weapons unlocked and whatnot. But I don't know. This might. The narrator will never grow on me. I will tell you that now. I'm willing to give the game another shot if I have more people to play, but don't anticipate me going, okay, yeah, let's just keep playing several levels now. Like if I play one, that'll probably be like it, I think. So
What if you pretended the announcer was Fred Schneider from the B-52s?
I don't know what that person sounds like.
He's the guy
Yeah,
who
you
talk
do.
sings in the B-52s. That's a love shack, baby.
Oh God,
Yeah. I don't know. I just thought maybe that would help.
no.
It doesn't seem like it would. I don't know.
Well, anyway, so I wasn't very impressed by Strange Brigade. I don't know, like maybe co-op with more people would be more fun, but I think I would have to have drinks involved in order to enjoy it much. So next one on the list is Paper Sorcerer. This one is a 2013 turn-based dungeon crawler RPG by Ultra Runway Games. The premise in this is pretty simple. You are an evil sorcerer who has been trapped inside a magical tome by a group of heroes, and you are trying to get out of the book so you can wreak havoc again.
Okay.
And the gameplay consists of, at least from what I played, fairly short dungeon maps filled with critters, and you, as a sorcerer, also summon critters to serve as your party members, and you can upgrade their skills and equipment in the village. You can return there in between the floors of the dungeon. And between its combat and the exploration modes, this really reminds me of Shining in the Darkness mechanically and visually in terms of the UI. I mean, like the art style is different, but the art is black and cream, kind of like parchment paper color.
This looks real cool.
Yeah, it looks real cool, and it was real cheap. I think I bought it for 99 cents. The full price is like $5.
Yeah.
So the music is really kind of a weird choice for a fantasy setting.
It's like thumping electronic music.
Yes. I played several floors, but a lot of the dungeon areas eventually, to me anyway, feel kind of samey. Again, it's kind of Shining in the Darkness feeling. But I don't anticipate beating this because my drive to grind and go through similar areas is pretty low, and I don't anticipate a payoff to the extremely simple premise that is worth my toil to get to it. I will eventually finish playing Shining in the Darkness because I want to go through all of the Shining games. I don't have a reason to go through this one all the way, but all of that said, if you are a strategy and party build nut, you might really enjoy this game. There are a lot of people who think very highly of it and rather enjoy this. So I don't really have any real complaints other than how story light it is, and it's repetitive, and that's about it. But again, I bought it for $1 on sale. I mean, I'm not worried about it.
Are the levels randomly generated, or are they like mapped out and you have to kind of like conquer them?
I don't know if they are randomly generated because I didn't restart it from the beginning and then compare contrast. It does not. I do not believe that it says anywhere in their Steam page that it is randomly generated. So I think they just built it that way.
Yeah.
So at the least, unlike some games, some stuff, like it's kind of interesting because like instead of seeing the critters and having the critters moving around in the dungeon, there's just like a sparkly mist, and that's where the critters are. That's where the encounter is, and you can like sidestep it if you want to in most cases. So you can avoid battles if you want to, although I don't know why you would. But
if you're looking for something to scratch this itch, can I hip you to something that is really calling my name and makes me wish I had time to play games?
Sure.
Do a search, look for a game called Tower of Mask. It looks like it fills in that, something that I've been really, an itch I've been wanting to scratch for a while, which is the, what is that? Legend of Grimrock.
Yeah.
It looks like a Legend of Grimrock alike, and it's the closest that I have seen to recapturing that based on the vibe. It calls itself a survival horror, but I do not know if I can get away with doing it on Hexcrank. Yeah.
Cool. I'll have to take a look at it. One that I do intend to play now that I have a computer, because like it does not work on a Steam Deck small screen because the text and everything is way too small, is Vaporum. That's that one that's like the Legend of Grimrock meets BioShock Love Child.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I want to go back and play that one because I was playing that and then my computer died and then I never got to go back to it. So anyway. So yeah, that's all I've got for Paper Sorcerer. I've got one more. So It's called Along the Edge. It's a 2016 visual novel. They call it an interactive graphic novel by Novabox. They created Sears Isle and several other games in this kind of style. In this game, you are Daphne, a young woman at a major pivot point in her life. She's fresh out of a wrecked relationship and unsatisfied in her collegiate and professional life. So she ends up inheriting an estate from her grandmother, who just passed away. It's somewhere in rural Europe, and she goes to take up residence there and spend some time away to sort herself out. And there's also some occult shit at play. So the music is fine, not stand out like the Thaumaturge, but also not chafing like Paper Sorcerer, which is like, I just need to turn the music off because I can't be laying in bed with that going.
Complete mismatch,
like, It's appropriate. It does not distract you while you do all the reading, so that is fine. It is serviceable. The artwork varies in quality. Most of it involves a great sense of light and shadow, so I enjoy that aspect of it. It is a sketchy or a painterly type of style, so there are some complaints out there on the net that it looks unfinished, since it looks more like rough concept art than polished final works most of the time. And I really can't disagree. It does look like a rough concept art more than it looks like, a finished piece of artwork that you are putting in your game.
Yeah.
It doesn't look like a stylistic choice, let's say.
It's not like Hotel Dusk.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. So I think this was one artist working on the 450 plus full screen illustrations, and that person was doing their best, damn it. So I'm not complaining. It was striking enough visually for me to decide to pick it up on sale during the winter sale. So whatever. The main character herself also looks different depending upon your choices throughout the game. So her personality and her look can vary wildly. There's 38 different appearance evolutions that you can have with her. So she's kind of like, what is it? Alchemy from Pokemon, which has like 7,000 different variations that you can evolve. So, It's funny because the Steam page is like these folks were tooting their own horn because this was like their first game and all of their other games came after this one. It's because the Steam page is like, it's 80,000 words total, which would collectively equal a 400-page novel.
Yeah. Okay.
And it's like, okay, like, why do I need to know the word count?
Yeah, visual novels have I mean, that's that was a back of the box feature for a while. Was it? Like, it's longer than X number of Hollywood scripts, or it's bigger than these novels. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
That's
Okay.
like a
Because
thing.
I was just like, I've never seen this before. This is very weird.
also 80,000 words is not very much for a visual novel like that with branching paths and
with
things.
branching paths. Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't know, dude. I mean, like, I'm working on my project right now, and I've got at least half of that right now, and I have so much more to go.
Yeah, scripts balloon. Yeah.
So yeah. The Steam page also says that there are 60 endings, but what they mean is, well, technically, because the ending is really an epilogue, which factors in a bunch of different elements. So how the plot ends has 6 endings. The destiny of the main character has 4 endings. How the romantic relationships pan out is 3 endings. And then there's a bunch of little...
them?
Yes, and then there's like little tiny plot points that change slightly. Is this character alive or dead, or does this thing happen or this one? And that's what they're counting in their 60 endings. So... okay, whatever. I enjoyed the game enough to want to eventually play some of their other games that are also in the same style, particularly as they released their newest in May 2024. And this one was a 2016 version, so I'm sure that they have made improvements since this game was made, because this was the first one. Sears Isle was the second, and like basically their turnaround window also shortened over time. It was 2 years, like 2016, 2018, 2020, and then it was like 2022, 2023, 2024. And I'm like, okay, so like now they're churning stuff out pretty fast. But anyway, those are the various things that I had. Sorry, Dennis and Moxie, that I had a sadness about this game that you enjoy. Not for me. It's fine. It's fine. I'm sure it is lovely for y'all, but
I'm gonna go play it this week and then talk about how amazing it is.
Yeah. Let's see. I will let you two decide amongst yourselves.
So I think maybe we should tag team.
Possibly. Why don't you start?
Yeah. So probably the main thing I've been playing has been Fortnite with Dennis and Co.
Huh.
Okay. Yeah, that's funny. I guess it has been long enough that I was like, we probably talked about this on the show already, but no, we haven't.
No.
Oh, the ballistic? You guys have been doing more of that, or?
So we did some of that, and I guess that's my first insight, is it turns out that game is actually fun if you have teammates on voice chat and doing anything approaching, like, strategy.
Mm-hmm. It is very much built around coordination.
Yeah, exactly. It's still, as shooters go, probably not my favorite, and it still has some flaws. Like, I still don't know what the difference is supposed to be between the vast majority of the weapons. But, it's still, it is a lot of fun with, a group of people being tactical, kind of, cosplaying your best, Call of Duty dialogue, that sort of thing.
Okay.
It's also pretty funny to have, like, the clutch play of a tactical shooter, done by, like, Snoop Dogg, wearing a golden, like, Superman cape.
That's right, because even though it's a different game mode, every single skin can...
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
That is used to every single skin and every single emote.
Oh, okay.
It's still in there. So if you've ever wanted to have Invincible do the hot to go dance over your corpse after you lose a round, you can live that fantasy.
Who's Invincible?
From the Amazon Prime series,
Oh, okay.
based on the comic.
Super Dad?
That would be Omni-Man. I don't think they actually put
okay.
Omni-Man in the game. Maybe they did. He's too much of a war criminal / serial killer, but Invincible's cool.
I mean, they put... No, it was Call of Duty that put Homelander in the game.
Oh God, yeah.
No, geez. Yeah, probably a lot of unironic or missing the point people hopping on that.
Yes, yeah.
Yep.
With any game with this kind of skin and content bloat, in terms of emotes and stuff, you gotta go into all these matches with a healthy grain of salt.
Yeah.
Although I think my favorite manifestation of this is we did some of the actual core battle royale mode, and ended up just spending the entire match being stalked by Santa Claus.
Okay.
That's right.
Do you remember that?
Yeah. Well, I think there was some kind of skin that was a Christmas season gift or whatever, and everyone was using it. But yeah, it's like, how many Santa Clauses do I have to kill?
Yeah, it kept, like, by the end, it kept being like we'd be holed up in this building that we had built up to defend, and it became like a horror movie thing. Guys, Santa Claus is inside the building.
I just love, though, because my kids are on playing all the time, even more than when I'm playing with them. But I come downstairs and they've got their friends from school that they're playing with usually, and so I go downstairs and Milo is just like rattling off all these deals. Like, here's what you do for this, and this is going to be that, and you got to do this over here, and I'm going to go here, you go over there, and when I do this, you do that. And I'm like, oh, who are you playing with? He's like, Moxie. So Milo was holding court as they were gaming. It's delightful.
Coordinating an operation.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So we also played. They have the player created modes, and the best way I can describe these, and I never would have thought that like this would be something that's coming back in 2024, but these are basically the second coming of the use map setting modes from StarCraft. So it's just how much can people take Fortnite and use it for game modes that the developers probably never intended. So for example, we played one that was basically you're fighting a zombie apocalypse, but then like every 5 minutes Godzilla shows up and you're fighting Godzilla instead.
Okay.
Yeah, just as you do. And yeah, it's I don't know, they're just so weird. There's another one that's kind of fun that's sort of a almost feels to me theme-wise like an 80s action or 80s 90s action movie where you're just fighting through the various rooms of this massive hotel high-rise. And so it's like, oh yeah, now you're in the I don't know, in the freezer, and so like the floor is all slippery, and now you're in the swimming pool area, and oh no, it's the dining room, all that sort of stuff. And I don't know, they're just a lot of fun. Des, do your kids do they rope you into these like variant modes much?
Oh yeah, all the time. It's so funny though. They go back and forth between playing the main game mode and then finding some creator content game that captures their imagination. That's all they play for a bit. So yeah, I get a good mix of all the different things that Fortnite has to offer. Funny enough, I had them sit down and watch the extra credits video on Skinner boxes in reaction
trying to
that.
inoculate them.
Yes, and that extra credits is a great series. Recommend it to anyone.
Yeah.
But that video does a great job, like talking through. It's not just that progression systems are bad. here are all sorts of things you can do in a progression system to make it less of a Skinner box and make it more interesting and all that stuff. And so now, they'll be playing and like have that vocabulary for like, oh yeah, this is, they're using it as a tutorial, or this is like a skill-based progression and blah, blah, blah.
Oh, you're going to make them into podcasters. Oh no, Dennis, you need to
that's always been the end game.
Oh no.
Welcome to the level 2085.
Do not mamas do not let your kids grow up to be podcasters. Oh no.
But it also is funny because every once in a while they just try random stuff, and there was some game. It was like, oh yeah, on rails, you ride on round on a rail and get experience points, and that was it.
Yeah.
I walked downstairs and it was truly just a Skinner box, right?
Uh-huh.
So I walked downstairs and I look at it for a second. I'm like, I can't get what's going on here. What is this? And I said, Luke, what are you playing? And he goes, Skinner box.
At least he knows enough to be exasperated and ashamed of it.
Yeah. So I've equipped them with that little bit of vocabulary. It seems to be serving them well.
Well, and also taught them an important life lesson that, knowing that something is manipulating you is not the same as keeping it from manipulating you.
Yes, indeed.
Someday you will learn this about alcohol.
Yeah, but it has been a lot of fun, using it just as a platform to hang out as well. Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's always, they ask about Uncle Moxie and all that stuff. Which I forget, it was either New Year's Day. It was like the day after Christmas or something like that. And literally Milo woke me up to ask when Moxie was going to be on.
Yep.
Nice.
To play with. So you've captured their attention for sure.
Nice.
They enjoy hanging out. Wouldn't have it any other way.
Nice.
So another thing that I've got a love-hate relationship about with this game is the storyline. Because on the one hand, it's kind of wild that they actually have like a semi-ongoing storyline and events and that sort of thing. On the other hand, like I'm trying to advance it while having like random teenagers and basement dwellers take pot shots at me.
Okay.
Yeah, my policy is to just completely ignore all that. But you've gone lore hunting, have you?
I mean, I was at least trying to like work through the main story quest. Something about there's an evil samurai demon and magical masks and some sort of creepy marionette Oni lady. That's about all I've gotten from it.
Yep. Just shoot everything. That's my policy.
Also, one of the guys is just living sushi.
Yeah, there's that. There's a whole bunch of food themed characters, which circling back around to ballistic. This is the last thought I'll have. But players have discovered that the Peely skin, which is like just a giant walking banana, is good for ballistic because it's less obvious where the head is for the hitbox.
Oh God. Yeah.
And so just like it's like a zombie takeover, like just gradually more and more of the skins in ballistic are Peely.
Yeah. Same as it ever was. It's like everybody fighting over who gets to be Odd Job and GoldenEye.
Which actually pulls into one thing that does annoy me, which is that Save the World mode has a bunch of like plus size characters, and they just don't show up in the rest of the modes.
Oh my gosh.
Presumably because like it would theoretically be problematic to figure out how do we deal with these hitboxes, but still just kind of sucks.
Yeah. What else have you been playing besides Fortnite?
So the main other thing, I reinstalled Dying Light 2.
Okay.
I'd played it before, but didn't get really all that far. Part of it, I think, while this is a game that definitely has some things to recommend for it, it definitely starts off very slow and kind of trickles out, some of the things. But for people that haven't played, basically, this is a zombie apocalypse scenario where everyone survives via the power of parkour. And after the first game in the series, humanity has developed a vaccine to stop the zombie plague. But then the bad guys from the first game then proceeded to just make a worse zombie plague that resulted in the collapse of society. And
Again?
so this takes, so this takes place 15 years after that, where most of society has reverted to sort of this weird like mashup of Mad Max and the Middle Ages.
Okay.
And probably the biggest gameplay change that's kind of interesting is in this scenario, virtually everyone living inside this walled city where the game takes place is already infected by the zombie virus. But as long as you are regularly exposed to ultraviolet light, the virus won't like take you over and turn you into a zombie.
Okay.
And likewise, most of the more dangerous zombies cannot, this was in the first game, cannot go out in UV light, which is why there's the day-night cycle is so important.
Mm-hmm.
But this time around, if you are either out at night or like inside one of the buildings that effectively acts as kind of dungeons in this game, you basically have a timer that's ticking down until you turn into a zombie and die. So you have to either manage your runs or bring like black light emitters with you or that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Likewise, with that, there's a big emphasis on certain areas. Most of the dungeons you actually want to explore while it's nighttime, because then the more powerful zombies will be out hunting in the overworld.
Surface. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, it's interesting. It's fun. Still very strangely written. Like your character kind of does this weird middle ground between being a cynical asshole and just way too like naive and optimistic.
Okay.
That's kind of strange.
Is that just so you can fit in with whatever faction you decide to go with?
So I don't know. So the two factions are basically, you have the Bizarre or the Survivors, which are kind of the spec as the good faction, except they're also like backwoods medievalists that like when you first get there and they see that you're an outsider, immediately want to hang you.
Okay.
Definitely, I don't know that they ever mention this, but you just know they've definitely burnt a few witches in their day.
I mean, who hasn't?
And then the other faction is the Peacekeepers, which are basically the militaristic, law and order, pseudo-fascists.
Mm-hmm.
Can you
bonk them?
You can bonk them, yes. Okay. I'm a little disappointed that they didn't didn't either make the factions more explicitly good or evil, so that like I didn't feel dirty allying with the crazy fanatics, or make the factions a little more ambiguous so that I didn't feel bad allying with the militarists. Because, like, for example, the militarist faction seems to have a big swing between like whenever you're out around seeing them doing stuff, it seems like they're, big time, helping people and like, oh no, we have to get this to work. It's these people's only hope for surviving the night. Like, super heroic. But then like it'll swing to any time the story kicks in, it swings straight to fascist.
That's okay. Good.
Yeah, so no, I mean yeah, it's weird.
Is the game, so I remember like in the first one, like one of its main things was being made for co-op, right? Is that still the case for this, or is it kind of more single player forward?
I know that definitely does support co-op, and they've have some DLCs and stuff like that that are explicitly seems to be co-op focused. Mm-hmm. However, I'm not quite sure how that works in general because, like, the storyline is very explicitly, there is one hero. Like, I don't see, unlike, say, like Army of Two or Left 4 Dead, I don't see how the storyline would really make sense with multiple people. Mm-hmm. So I'm assuming it's just a thing where just, like, during cutscenes, everyone else disappears because reasons.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, yeah, it's a weird game. There's still the issue with the game seeming to think that like having nuanced, interesting choices and shades of gray is the same as subverting your decisions, which is unfortunate.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, it still does the thing where like your first major decision, if you want to ally with the survivors instead of the peacekeepers, basically like you radio in and tell the peacekeepers to go fuck yourself. And then the survivors are like, oh, we saw you were talking to the peacekeepers, therefore you betrayed us. Now you're going to have to fight a bunch of us and kill us.
Okay.
So it's just straight up just like, it's cool to have like unintended consequences, Spec Ops style, but that's different than just straight up saying like, oh yeah, we saw you were trying to do a thing, therefore we're going to make it do not that thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So yeah, but bonking zombies is always fun, and even better when you're parkour bonking zombies.
I don't have any other questions.
Opens up a lot of positions for bonking.
I don't know about that. That was a little bit of a reach.
Was.
Yeah, you push it too far. Dennis, how about you?
Yeah, I got several things to talk about. I'll start with one that is short but not so sweet. I wanted to like this game so much, and I think I do in a way, but I'm not going to play it anymore. So Carrion came to Game Pass.
Yeah,
which is
I think I have that in my backlog.
Yeah, stylistically, like you're playing as this monster blob tearing apart the lab that you were maybe grown in. I don't know.
At least studied in. Yeah.
Yeah, and the fantasy of being this, like being the monster, right? This out of control thing that everyone's scared of and running away, and some people shoot at you, but it's really not going to do much because you can get to them and rip them in half so fast, and then eat their corpse. Like that's a very fun thing to engage in for a bit, and it feels akin to like having a toy Godzilla or something. You're like rah, 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 it feels a bit like a toy to play with it that way. The second the game though wants you to like slow down and solve a puzzle or like do a Metroidvania thing,
it just kind of spent powering stealth.
Yeah, it stands in direct opposition to what the core fantasy of this game is all about. Mm-hmm. And so I found myself kind of rushing through everything until everyone was dead. And then it's like, I don't want to play anymore. There's no more people to rip apart. Like, I'm sure there's a good game there. It's a a really fun idea, but it's just I don't know. I can't bring myself to not go rah 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 with my Godzilla.
It's a game that's at odds with itself, and the precisely the way that you're describing. Like, I streamed this and we covered it on WAF, and like the second time that I played it, a lot of the shine came off the apple.
Yeah. Stylistically, I love the art though. Like, pixel art, kind of low resolution, and communicates so much with that kind of, with that small palette. But yeah, I don't think I have much else to say about it, except I tried it. It was fun to go rah rah rah, and then I'm on to the next thing. So that's
did
Carrion.
as the slime monster, were you able to bonk guards?
Okay, yeah,
no comment.
It's gone. Should have waited a little bit longer. Yeah,
gotta space that out there.
Yeah.
Space out the bonks? I don't know.
Nope.
See, not taking my own advice here. So that's Carrion. I also picked up a new game, Elite Dangerous.
So
new
that's
to me, I guess I should say.
That's a whole lifestyle. Yeah.
Oh boy, yeah. I had a friend that I play D&D with recommend it to me, and he's like, "Oh yeah, I'll jump in with you." And then we did the classic thing where it's like we're sitting in Discord together talking. I'm like, "Okay, I'm in the tutorial area now. Wait, where did you spawn? Oh, I'm like completely on the other side of the galaxy from you." And he's like, "Well, I guess I could hyper jump across the entire galaxy to try to team up with you." And then, like, after traveling my way, he's like, "I don't like it's such a big game. Literally, it's a space sim modeled in a full scale map of the Milky Way." And it was just like, okay, yeah, you are level 60 and across the map from the starter area. And I'm this little plebe who can't even get out of the tutorial yet.
Yeah.
It just doesn't make sense
Too
for
much
us to
overhead.
play together.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's a VR game, or rather, it's compatible with VR while you are in the spaceship. And therein probably lies my key point of contention. There's a whole expansion called the Odyssey expansion that adds No Man's Sky style interaction to all the planets. So you can land your spaceship anywhere, get out, and just start walking around. Very cool idea. However, not only is it like launch No Man's Sky at this moment, but it's not in 3D if you're in VR.
No.
It kicks you out to a flat screen, within your headset, which is incredibly disorienting. And just walking around was incredibly difficult. Thankfully, after the tutorial mission for that expansion, you never have to interact with outside of the ship stuff again if you don't want to. I promptly disregarded it.
Yeah, I think even if you're like doing deliveries to a planet, you can basically just land at the site, offload your cargo, and then take off.
Well, and it's very clear because Odyssey is a recent edition. It's very clear that this game was designed as a spaceship sim first and foremost. And
yeah, totally.
Maybe this get out anywhere thing was an ambition, but it certainly was not part of the core design. And they're expanding into it. It's a living game. It's essentially an MMO, so I imagine it will get better over time. I might check it out again if they put the walking stuff in 3D. But for now, that's just not for me.
Yeah.
The space combat, though, is very much for me. And I can't think of anything since I played Star Wars Squadrons.
God, that's a good game.
It is so good, especially in VR. And this feels very much like that. Even though I'm still in kind of a basic ship with fairly basic weaponry, it just feels good to dogfight with people. And I've noticed a very interesting kind of learning curve or difficulty curve that they're taking me through. When I was in the starter ship and I was doing these bounty things to hunt pirates, I would only ever find, one pirate at a time. And I like the way they do space travel. So you've got a frame shift drive, which like accelerates you to, speeds that you can actually, casually travel around the solar system. But, accelerating to and then slowing down from those speeds takes time. And so it's this little game of chicken of like, okay, I want to get to this planet fast. When do I slam on the brakes, try to slow myself down so that I'm going slow enough to drop out of the frame shift drive safely while I'm the right distance from my arrival point. The penalty for overshooting that is you just have to turn around and kind of take it in a little bit slower. But it does kind of just add this little bit of mastery to just getting around from point to point. But anyway,
did you end up looking up the thing I sent, by the way?
No, I haven't yet. Although I have started to experience ships that use not the conventional controls like you were talking about.
Yeah. Just what I said, it's like there's a whole thing where like I haven't played in a while, so this isn't literally a thing, but like the community has kind of resolved around like the ideal thing is like you frame shift in until you're like 2 minutes out, and then drop to like 75% engine, and then decrease so that it appears as though your time to arrival is not changing. Like there's this whole thing of what people have figured out as like an efficient way to do this.
It makes me think, and I don't know which came first, but it makes me think of the wave jumping from Apex Legends. So that took something that was kind of fairly basic to Battle Royale games, the like dropping in off of an aircraft that's traveling across the entire map, and added this element of like, just doing the kind of weaving at the right oscillation as you were dropping would get you down there faster with more precision, etc. So it feels like they kind of added that. It's the active reload almost of traveling from star to star, and it's a nice touch. Go ahead.
Sorry, just one anecdote that I find hilarious. You mentioned that it's actually fairly forgiving, low stakes. I think my favorite thing is that if you accidentally like frame shift into a planet, you'll go from like multiple times the speed of light to a dead stop in like a fraction of a second, and all it does is like drops your shields or whatever.
Yeah. It's like, yeah, that feels worth it. Although you can't reliably quote unquote hit a planet when you're traveling that fast.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So the kind of difficulty curve. So basic ship, I'd only encounter one pirate at a time. I got a nicer ship with more weapons, and suddenly I'm finding groups of 3 pirates at a time. And then I start noticing that the pirates are using maneuvers that you could only do in space. With the basic controls turned on, you're handling your spaceship essentially like a plane, and you're going to have a turning radius, and it's a lot easier to make sense of off the bat. But you're in space, so you could spin on a dime and fly backwards while shooting the direction you came, and all this stuff. And so your adversaries are gradually getting more savvy, and that's cool to see kind of what the game wants you to learn to do exemplified in the people that you're fighting.
Mm-hmm. So you've started playing like without the inertial dampeners, that thing?
I haven't, but I want to now. So that's my next step, is to start learning how to do that.
Nice.
Yeah. However, I mentioned before, first and foremost, Elite Dangerous is an MMO, which means a significant part of my playtime is sitting there going, how the fuck do I highlight the place that I need to go? Where the, like,
feels no duty to bring you in at all.
Mm-hmm. So, I looked at the weapon shop when I first spawned, and there was like a certain type of weapon that I wanted, but I didn't buy it at the time. And then after, playing a little bit, I was like, oh, I definitely want that weapon. So I went back to the shop, but the weapon was gone. And I was like, oh, okay, well, how do I search for where the weapon is? And then that sent me down a whole rabbit hole. And then, okay, well, if I want to navigate over there, how do I even highlight the right place? And that sent me down a whole rabbit hole. And of course, I'm doing all this sitting in VR, which means as I'm searching, I'm like throwing my helmet up, tabbing over to a window, type.
Yeah,
okay, slap down the helmet.
Sounds like a fucking nightmare.
Oh my God. It is tedious is the wrong word, but it is high friction, to learn how to play this game. I think some of that is by design, just in terms of, Moxie already alluded to the community kind of, coalescing around certain things and okay, here's how you do this. You learn from other players, etc. But yeah, my playtime is definitely padded, by just fucking around in the game, trying to find a guide for what I want to do. Which is not what you want, but I've clocked, where to go here. Yeah, I've clocked 20 hours on this game in like, I don't know, a week and a half. So safe to say I'm invested in it, having fun with it.
Nice. Yeah.
Yes, that's Elite Dangerous.
Too intimidating for me. I can see it being really fun. I like a space sim. It's just, it was too late. It was too late for me.
Yeah. If it ever takes away my ability to hop out and fight a pirate at a moment's notice, I think I will lose my affection for it very quickly. The thing that's kept me going is that moment to moment combat. Yeah. All right.
We're kind of up on, like, we're going to run into time stuff.
But perfect. Then that's what I've got.
Oh, cool. Sorry,
Yeah.
I revealed I was going to be a dick.
You mean a host? You mean
yeah. I just
you're gonna moderate this this herd of cats here?
If there was usually the third is kind of an also ran like a check in on it. I just wanted to make sure if you had something else. You know what? We don't need to do this on the air. I think that was a segment.
Perfect.
Multiplayer.
Now it is time for the multiplayer, but this time we're going to be doing our annual self-indulgent tradition. Titling each episode of the show as a collaborative experience. If you listen through to the end of the episodes, you know that. I don't know. I think that we just like the sound of words together. And for a while now, we have been putting it to a vote for what the best ones are. Dennis, you collated all of these and posted the poll. I would like to leave it to you for what order to do these in. Do we want to start with the A-Toady, or do we want to do the title of the year first?
Oh, that's a good question. Let's hop over to the A-Toady.
Okay.
And this is, this was people could select multiple titles that they liked the jib of that didn't quite make an actual episode title.
But they selected the right one.
Yes. So I've got this divided into honorable mention, runners up, and winner. So winner, there was one title, one A-Toady that had the most votes, and then two sections for just the tier of votes below each of that in steps. So
yes.
This is what floated to the top when we asked people to click on what they liked from the alternate titles.
The cast of Nosferatu.
So I mean, under the honorable mentions, God, the alternate, I try not to let the super horny stuff make it into a title. So that manifests through this. So I want everything to stay hard no matter what. Obviously, talking about difficulty. We have Give Us a Waluigi Movie, You Cowards. It's always weird to hear wizards say fuck. What was the
That's a good one.
Oh, we were talking about that Immortals Ascent of Avium or whatever it is. Yeah.
Avernium, Immortals of it. Yeah, Avernus. No, it's not Avernus. God damn, I uninstalled that game a little bit ago.
Yeah, that's D&D hell.
Avium? I don't know.
Maybe. It doesn't matter. Nobody knows. Everyone sounds the same on fire. Detroit become Eldritch. I have no idea what
that one is my personal favorite.
Oh. The Pores. Alongside I don't want to see the pores. And then
you guys really aren't going to let me get away with that, are you?
Was that you? What did you
I'm just saying, technically, if you combine those, that's the winner.
The pores. I don't want to see the pores. Set
Fair
from a
enough.
balcony.
Oh Lord.
And then It's Hotter If It's Illegal, which I don't like that one bit.
I mean,
it's the theme
it's
for
true,
2024 right there.
Jala, what are the runners up?
The runners-up are tasteful dick jokes. John Wicking people.
Yeah.
And you have to be as damaged as me to enjoy this.
That sounds like me. That was probably
That is you.
me talking
It's
about
gotta be you.
some weird little fucking mechanics heavy thing or simulator. Yeah,
I'm just across.
See, I could see any of you having said it. So that's
John
sell
Wicking
yourself
people
short.
sounds Moxie to me, but
Oh yeah,
that
no, that
does.
was definitely me. It's it's amazing how many of these are just such a good encapsulation of this past year, for better and often for worse.
Yeah. So Moxie, what is the winner of the alternate titles of the year? The titles that almost were but weren't.
The winners and should be title of the year is Monster Fuckers of the World.
Yeah.
also known as the cast of Nosferatu.
Yeah.
Was that a Jala? I feel like that was a Jala.
No,
I feel-
it can't- well,
what?
it's got to be because of me, maybe. But
I forget
I
what it
don't
was.
know.
It was relatively recent. We were talking, I don't know, Monster Fuckers came up. And that was before I knew about the weird book talk stuff.
well, did
Wait,
did I say monster fuckers will be happy? I've been saying that
Maybe.
actually a lot in the last month.
Yeah, I was going to say, I would have expected this to come from myself. This is
Yeah.
really something I would
I
expect
don't know
from
that
myself.
that also is very Moxie, so I don't know.
So I feel like there was a game that brought this to the fore, and I was very much like, oh yeah, this will be for people who like that, and that's cool. I'm glad they.
Oh
have.
yeah, I mean,
this was me talking about that translation horror game that I was talking about.
yeah.
I was about to say that's disgusting. Which game?
Yeah.
No, I remember that one now.
Yeah, I need to. What is the name of that fucking game? I'll find
Cipher or
it.
something.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Homicipher.
Homicipher. There you go.
Yeah,
that is on my short list of games to play. That is an amazing game.
I think you would really like it, Moxie. Yeah. So there we go. That is the A-Toady. And then we get to the actual titles of the year, where we end up with ties. So
there's a top 10 that are clear winners, and there's a 3-way tie for 8th and then a 3-way tie for 4th, which I figure we can kind of start from the bottom and work our way up.
Once we're done with this, I have two interesting insights from our toadies this year.
Okay. All right.
can't
So is it the one that I have highlighted that is the 10th?
I can't see. It's line 12. I can't see what you have highlighted.
Line 12. Okay, yeah. So that is the ties for 8th. So I will hit these. Don't treadmill on me. No clue. Neg your kids.
Solid parenting advice.
Yeah, and then pre 3 to 4. Which was from somebody. It was a multiplayer response. Somebody wrote in, and they had
Trolling people online by
Yeah.
misreading
wasn't
their
that,
names.
Dennis? Wasn't that you and your kids?
No, this was. It wasn't me, but God damn it! If I haven't started saying pre 3 to 4 in real life,
somebody wrote somebody wrote Predator in Leet, and yeah.
Oh my God!
Yeah.
Yes, it never fails to make me chuckle.
Jala, what is number 7?
Number 7 is Switch Virgin.
Yep,
That's a lot.
it is a lot.
Sometimes the horny gets through.
See, like, you can't keep it down entirely, and it does come through. Yeah. I mean,
You just want a title that could conceivably be interpreted in an innocent way,
yes.
like one of the ones that's tied for 4th here.
Yeah. Dennis, what are the ones that are tied for 4th?
The first one moving up is Find Your Pervy Person.
That was a Jala
so
thing. That was
That's
talking about.
a Jala thing.
Yeah, we're talking about Master Detective Archive.
Yeah.
Oh Lord. So yeah, okay, we're just gonna throw that innocence out the window there. How about also tied for 4th? I expected to enjoy this more.
That's me.
That's you.
That's
Yeah.
me. 100%. Yeah.
It's like,
What's great
I hear
is
that
that
in your voice.
What's great is the reconstruction of whose was this? Who said this? What was this in reference to?
It's fun.
This is the hangover for podcasts.
Yep.
Oh man.
And then finally, also tied for fourth, Wizards with Guns Without Guns.
Is
and
that
I know
Ben
that
or
this
you,
is
Dennis?
this is me talking about that one game generated
Immortals
so
of
many
Avium
titles.
or whatever.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You
and,
talked about it
I
a lot for a game that
That you don't remember now.
I was so dedicated to finishing it, and I just didn't.
I feel you.
it was for nothing.
It was for nothing. However, I think it was Moxie that said the specific phrase, and is my personal favorite of the year. Wizards with
gosh.
Guns Without Guns.
Number 3 is a recent one, Strong Dad and Wedgie Mom.
Yes.
It was your kids.
Yep. Banter
name-
time.
I sat down 2 days ago and we started watching Homestar, so I will report back in. There was a lot of angst in that episode about whether or not it would hold up.
Okay. All right.
So far so good, but we'll see.
Seems a little timelessy. I don't know how much exposure to even the modern internet that a kid today has would jade them on it.
They didn't recognize any of the characters, which was really fun.
That's
to be
a
like we started with the character intros, and it's just a bunch of names written on VHS tapes, and so they read the name and had no idea who the character was. And just seeing their reactions based on that was delightful.
Let's see. Jala, what is number 2?
Number 2. Why you gotta make me read this one? Okay, the thinker, but for pissin'.
Yeah,
That's gotta be you.
The dropped G on that has to. That's absolutely me. I think I made a point of it. I can't remember what it was. I think. Oh no, we were talking about a fountain. I think.
Maybe.
Yeah.
In one of those fountains, that's like a cherub. That's peeing.
Was the water coming out of the
Yes.
You
fountains
know it. You know it. Yeah.
head?
Maybe. No, come on. And Moxie, what is number 1?
Number 1 is if you sleep in the game, you sleep in real life.
People really, really just want to sleep.
We're all just tired. That's all.
Yeah. At the end of the day.
So that was my insight from this, is even more than the A toadies, between this and like I expected to enjoy this more, like really sums up 2024.
Just a real like a real just exasperation. Like, I mean, even down to like respect my rot, exasperation, exhaustion in here. I've got one that I'm sad it didn't make didn't make it. Corn on the Cob was there.
Okay.
Just the way you said that, Dennis. Any other personal honorable mentions?
Oh man, I'm looking through the list right now. Like I said, Wizards with Guns Without Guns was far and away my favorite. Windmill Journey, just from the time playing Tetris. Entertaining.
Yeah.
What was the context for a blood feud with helicopters?
Oh, I think just an offhanded. Somebody brought up 50 Cent Blood on the Sand, and 50 Cent in that game fucking hates helicopters. You shoot down so many of them. Yeah.
Respect My Rot is pretty good.
Sorry, just outside the top 10, Trying to Solve a Waffle.
I was really proud of that.
Tickled my
one.
fancy. Yes.
Talking about the witness. I don't know.
The one that I think someone referenced this already, but the one that I feel like was its wit deserved more was Liza P.
Liza P.
Liza P.
Yeah. Who's Liza P? Oh man.
Yeah.
I'm happy that recency bias didn't take over. If you sleep in the game, you sleep in real life. I think it was a Ben one.
Sounds
hold
like
on. I
Ben.
think there's timestamps on these if I unhide. Oh no, that's timestamps for the responses.
Yes.
Never mind.
Oh well. Any other final things to say about this?
Thanks for hanging out with us for another year.
Thanks.
It's
for
always
hanging
good times.
out. Happy to start a new one. I guess. We'll be back with a regular multiplayer next week. Thank you for indulging us this indulgence.
Mm-hmm.
The End Boss.
Now it's time for the End Boss, where we talk about things that are happening in the world of video games that we are excited about. We're going to kind of do these ones quick. Let's see. I'll just go in the order that they're posted in here. Moxie, what did people dig up in Zelda Majora's Mask?
Oh, sorry, we are doing these. So yeah, people. Someone found that Zelda Majora's Mask for the N64 has voice control. I not sure I even realized that there was a voice control or a microphone peripheral for the N64.
It's shipped with I See You Pikachu or whatever that is, like the virtual pet game with the Pikachu.
Hey, you Pikachu.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there's only just a handful of things that it can work for. So like if you go up to one of the cows and say milk, they will give you whatever Lon milk or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
You can say wake up to wake up some of the sleeping Deku shrubs or whatever. And probably most interesting is if you have the camera equipped, you can take a picture by saying say cheese. However, the catch is that all of this must be in Japanese.
Okay.
Aha.
So yeah, it's interesting. I don't know. It's interesting that it's there. I guess I also did not realize that the original Zelda had voice control in the or voice whatever in the Japanese version.
Yeah, it used the microphone on the Famicom controller, like to get rid of the Pole's voice. You would have to like blow into it in order to like blow out the flame on them. Yeah.
Is recognizing voice a problem that is surprisingly easy to solve? Because I remember as a kid finding the Reader Rabbit games that had a voice, a microphone peripheral, and being like, "Oh my god, it's the future! How is this possible?" It feels like it's common enough in old enough technology that it's got to be easier than I think, right?
I don't know enough about it to say.
My experience has been it really depends. Like it used to be it's fine as long as you don't have like a speech impediment or an accent.
Yeah.
Whereas it seems like now it's more across the board fine.
Yeah. Huh. Interesting little bit of game history. I'm happy they didn't implement it. Dennis, what movie adaptations were announced?
Yeah, I mean, good to get more because apparently video game movies are good now. There's a live action Horizon Zero Dawn coming. Actually, I say that I don't know if they'll call it Horizon Zero Dawn.
Yeah,
but obviously movie based on the Horizon games. And then head scratchingly, Helldivers 2 is getting a movie, which there kind of was already. Guys, we did it.
The joke is kind of obvious on it, but also it's weird. Also, like that is not a narrative that, and what they would have to do is make it as an in-world propaganda film, like some of the interpretations of Starship Troopers are. Like that is not a story or a setting where any one person. I was joking with somebody earlier today. We were talking about this, and I was like, the only way to make it accurate is just a montage of senseless deaths for 90 minutes.
Yeah,
I feel like, especially considering like every major corporation is now falling on themselves to bootlick the fascists.
Yeah,
like how I can't even see them being allowed to make a Helldivers game that is remotely about what Helldivers is about.
Oh, it'll definitely be neutered for sure.
Well, that's the thing is like, I forget the exact quote, but the director of Starship Troopers was like, I needed to make it satire so on the nose that nobody could miss it.
Yeah.
And still plenty of people missed it.
Yeah, it was I needed to make it so obvious that everybody who understood it would be tormented forever by the people who don't, is what Verhoeven said.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I feel like Helldivers 2 will not be able to help, but just be like upping the ante on that. Like we have to go even more outrageous and on the nose than Starship Troopers, and people will still miss the point even harder.
Yeah. Real heads are saying, pass on these. Give me that adaptation, that Toho adaptation of Exit 8, that weird anomaly spotting game.
Yeah,
I have nothing to
I'm,
say
I'm
more.
low-key excited for that.
I'm excited to see how they're going to try it, but yeah.
The thing I'm hoping is that isn't that the company that owns Godzilla?
Yeah, Toho.
And like having Godzilla show up would actually not at all be outside of the spirit of Exit 8.
Not at all.
I'm trying to think of movies that have a convention like confined to a very small space.
Oh, there are plenty of them. Primer, Saw. No.
Yeah, there's
just
a whole series of like that's really popular in art house films because it doesn't require budget.
One of my favorite movies, Resolution, is kind of like that. Yeah. My actual story isn't the Exit 8 thing. It is good news about a crowdfunded game called Dreams on a Pillow. This was put up on a crowdfunding site. This is an independent game made by Palestinians. Telling the story of a woman trying to survive the 1948 Nakba, the catastrophe, the first major dispossession of the Palestinian people. And it is going to be told as a 3D stealth adventure, story-based, and kind of the idea is you're trying to survive during the day, and then you play memories, like dreams of life before the catastrophe, that are kind of being like erased over time, that kind of degrade as you go through them. It seems really neat. It is a story that is not told in video games. The initial goal was met. That is to $200,000. It'll take about $500,000 to make the game at the scope that they would like, but the $200,000 is to develop it out and make a vertical slice so they can hopefully get further funding to finish it out. So, looking forward to that.
That is cool.
Yeah.
And just good to see that they're thinking realistically about what that budget will do.
Yes. Yeah. Team of 9 people working on it. The concept art sounds really, the concept art looks great. And the premise sounds on point.
That's cool. That reminds me of 1979 Revolution Black Friday.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's that one that I played and I talked about a while back. It was a 2018 game about the Iranian Revolution. So...
I'll be keeping an ear out for more about that. And Jala, round us out with good news about Tango.
It's very short. So, as y'all know, Tango was basically being destroyed, and then they got rescued by Crafton back in August. And recently,
are we talking about the Latin dance or whatever?
Yes. That's exactly what we're talking
Tango,
about.
the developer of The Evil Within,
Hi-Fi Rush, Ghostwire Tokyo.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm on board now.
Yeah. So anyway, like they were going to be dissolved by Microsoft, and Crafton popped up and rescued them back in August. And recently, like they went dark after that. There was nothing going on, but then recently Tango announced a slight rebranding to Tango Gameworks Inc. under the Crafton label. And this was the team's first social media post since the announcement of the studio closure back in May last year. So we have no idea what the team is going to be working on, but they are, they posted basically they're looking forward to making more games and doing blah, 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 whatever. So that means that they might be done with the restructuring and shuffling and, figuring out what's going on kind of stuff, and then the dust might have settled enough for them to start working on something new. We don't know what yet, but hopefully something. We'll hear something soon.
I wish that would happen for more studios.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Importantly, it at least reads like they are saving the team and not just the IP.
Yeah.
Now, with this level of volatility and it being, pronounced dead for so long, I have to imagine that not all the talent has stuck around.
Right.
So fingers crossed that those who are still there can keep what made them so special in the first place.
Agreed. Nice. Well, we went through all those, and now I think it is time to button it up if everybody approves.
Buttons.
The credit.
Thank you so much, everybody, for listening. Welcome to the level in 2025. Just the time marches on. If you want to help us out, you can back the network on Patreon. You can leave a rating or review. Watch for the multiplayer prompts to go up in the Duckfeed community Facebook group. Probably going to be reevaluating Facebook now again.
What, you mean all the AI profiles aren't super fun for you to interact
I'm
with?
talking more about it being policy, like
The
explicit.
fact check, no longer fact
Oh,
checking
right,
anything.
yes.
And
Sorry, I can't keep up with the latest shitty thing they've
censorship
done.
stuff.
Yeah, and
They're not completely getting rid of the fact checking. They're moving it to Texas because Texas is less biased than California.
People from California are politically biased. People from Texas are not. And importantly, trans people cannot live in Texas easily. And also they changed their rules very specifically with like a carve out. So you can call queer and trans people mentally ill because it's important for people to express that idea. It's a fucking monster company. Has been for a long time, and not feeling great about directing people there.
Is Discord still okay? They have not become shitty in any major way, have they? Oh no,
no ethical consumption. There are some. There are concerns about it, but not. It's not the house that is most on fire right now.
Right.
Sure.
I'd say that
We are searching for the least shitty platform.
Yes.
Right.
Regardless. You know how you can help us. You've listened to podcasts before. Jala, what's going on at Jala's place?
Yeah, so the next episode, as of the time that this drops, it's going to be released the same day as this episode, is an interview with George of Three Sales Studios, which is a TTRPG making company that are coming out with a new non-combat TTRPG focusing on exploration and ecology called Mappa Mundi. And it's very, very cool, and it has fantastic artwork. And that conversation is a great little conversation. And by the end of it, George decided that I surely must be a double of him that is across the pond because he's over in the UK. So, that is coming out, and the Kickstarter for that goes live in February. Definitely check out that interview. Also, the last episode that was released that was topical was a re-release actually of the performance and identity episode from 2022. Dave has gotten massively better at editing and took another pass at it. The recording is what it is. The original recording is what it is, but he did clean it up some to make it a little bit more listenable. And so that is out there. That is a fantastic conversation with my friend Seraph, who is a dancer here locally in Houston. So
nice. And people can find that at jalachan.place. Yeah. Anything else? Any other? All right.
Let's make it 2020 thrive, people.
Oh God
no.
Damn it.
No, nobody likes that.
Nobody likes that. No.
Bite your fucking tongue. Oh gosh. Also huge thanks to Gwen, who is our producer and edits these episodes. I don't say it enough on here. So I've been Kole Ross. You can find me at Kole Ross on Blue Sky.
I've been Dennis Furia. You can find me at Furia Games on Blue Sky.
I'm Moxie. You can find me in 2025.
And I'm Ben Merkel. No. I'm Jalachan in all the places, including Jalachan.place.
And stick around for some titles. I was bad. I didn't write it down.
I have 3.
Okay. Say them.
I will say them. So far, so human. That's how Houdini died.
Okay.
And the Boinking Bonking Merger.
Okay. All right. You know what? I do have one that I thought to write down, just the word bonk.
The sigh of disapproval says no.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I have bonking not boinking, or the bonking boinking merger.
Okay.
Oh no, you're gonna make them into podcasters. And then a late one, I had 2020 Thrive.
Piss,
It's
boo.
in Tony's now. It lives forever.
To 2020 Thrive. There we go. Dennis, what you got?
Yeah, I got a couple from early in the show. I have first off, I yada yada'd the rest.
Okay.
So stylizes YADDA apostrophe D.
Yes, of course. You know the house style.
And then I had somebody check on Lenny Bruce.
Okay. All right.
Indiana Jones and the Pythagorean Theorem.
Okay.
That's a pretty good one.
And then finally, mothers, don't let your kids grow up to be podcasters.
Others don't. God, it's fucking novels.
They're turning
it's
into
a long-
manga titles.
Oh no,
One
you're
title would just
totally
be-
right.
It is.
Do you realize if you hadn't said it now, they're turning into manga titles definitely would have been a potential title.
Hey, look, a late contender. They're turning into manga titles.
You know what? I am happy. I am happy with that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Turning
do it.
into manga titles.
Did
There
I
we
get
go.
one once?
Yeah, you got one.
Oh my God. That never happened.
Oh gosh, yeah. I am. You know what? Let's not make it a habit, but as a meta commentary on the titles in this episode where we talk about the toadies, makes sense. I need to finish writing this fucking title. Mothers don't let your kids grow up to be podcasters.
Hey, you said it.
Now I'm wondering if we all got isekai'd, what would we get isekai'd into?
I don't know.
No.
Let's take that one off the air. It is decided.